The Webster women's basketball 2018-2019 season was ended in the semifinal of the conference tournament. Greenville, who was hosting the tournament, had Webster down 22 points just 15 minutes into the game. Webster came all the way back just to lose in overtime by 3 points. Fast forward a year later, and Webster found themselves just one win away from hosting the conference tournament. The team was set to play Eureka in their last home game of the season, a Eureka team that they had beaten by 20 points just a few weeks earlier. In fact, Webster had beaten almost everybody in the last few weeks, going 12-1 in their last 13 games.
You know, it's really tough to win a couple games in a row and not get too high. And so, you know, our message with this group was like, listen, man, it doesn't matter what we just did. You know, every team's gunning for you.
Both teams knew the stakes as they lined up at center court to begin the game. A Webster win would secure them home court advantage for the conference tournament, but a Eureka loss would eliminate them from the tournament entirely. It was all Eureka out of the gate. A couple layups and a steal gave Eureka an early 8-2 lead and forced Webster to use a timeout just 2.5 minutes into the game.
We may have overlooked that beating them by so much the last time going into that game. And we kind of maybe thought that we had it a little bit easier than it actually came to us. We were shooting a lot of threes and they weren't falling for us. So we were trying to kind of adjust to that and use more of our inside game just because a lot of our shots, I do remember they weren't falling.
Despite the timeout, Eureka kept on rolling, building up a 17-point lead just over 6 minutes into the game.
They also started playing this like zone for a little bit, and I guess that was kind of one of our weaknesses at the time. We had been practicing just in case they would do zone, but they were primarily like man-to-man defense, so that kind of threw us off.
You know, we were fouling a lot. The great things about pressing and playing pressure defense is when you get steals, you get layups. Well, then what's really hard that we figured out over these 10 or 12 years of us doing this is, well, once you get a couple steals, everybody gets greedy, and instead of being detailed on trapping, we start reaching. So that led to a lot of fouls.
In the first quarter alone, Eureka took 11 shots from the free throw line, making all 11. In the entire game, Eureka would take 34 free throws, sinking 29. Both numbers were highest for Webster opponents all season. Webster was able to find their footing in the first quarter, thanks in huge part to a trio of three-pointers by Lauren Freeman. They would finish the quarter down by 8 points. In their last 13 games, the only other game they hadn't been winning after the first quarter was their lone loss to Fontbonne.
It's just some like miscommunication. Like if I'm coming in on one side and I'm supposed to have someone else, you know, back up that other side, if she gets through to the middle, then there's nothing we can really do at that point. Now I'm caught behind.
Although it seemed like Webster had gained some momentum by the end of the first quarter, the second was all Eureka. They outscored Webster 25-12 and built up a 21-point lead going into the half. This was the biggest halftime deficit Webster had had all season, which sent them in the locker room looking for solutions.
We honestly went in the locker room. I'm pretty sure nobody said anything for a solid minute or two because we were all kind of like, what the heck is going on?
It wasn't going there and yell and bang on lockers. It was like, man, you got to start being the team you want to be all the time.
Our original plan of, you know, just running them over and winning by 20 plus points, we knew that maybe that wasn't our goal anymore, but just getting the win was our new goal.
This was a game where like everyone was talking in the locker room and everyone was getting feedback on different things that we needed to do more of or less of. And I think that we all, at the end of halftime, we all came together and we were like, we're not losing. Like, this is not an L. So 21 points is nothing. And we beat them by 20 last time. We got this in the bag.
Webster came out on fire to start the third quarter, outscoring Eureka 13-4 in just the first 4.5 minutes.
Going into the third quarter, it was like, oh crap, we have to play catch up now. So we have to go in here, kick butt, and then get back on top.
You know, the other thing about this was, you know, Eureka has 6 kids. So we knew that they were going to wear out compared to us playing 9 or 10. We just didn't know when. But I think as the game went on, just the pace that we play started, their energy's lower. Now their closeout's not as sharp. And then we started making plays.
The rest of the third quarter was highly contested, as Webster was only able to shave one more point off of Eureka's lead heading into the fourth quarter.
I think going into the fourth, it was like, we just kicked butt to get close. Let's not lose what we've done. Keep the momentum because we have the momentum.
The break between quarters seemed to change all the momentum, as Eureka took 11 of the first 13 points and extended their lead to 17 with just over 7 minutes left in the game.
At that point, it's definitely nerve-wracking. It was really just a time of coming together. The bench always had to be as hype and, keeping us going if we were ever having some down situations on the court, and just trying to be as positive and not put our heads down as much as possible when we were down at that point.
From that point on, Webster kept inching their way closer and closer back into the game. Then, after Webster guard J.C. Morgan hit a 2, Lauren Freeman immediately stole the ball back, laid it up, and made it just a 1-point game with 75 seconds left.
One thing I thought we did a poor job in the first half was running the floor and just kicking it up, getting transition, and that turned out a little bit better. So now we're getting big stops and then big shots. You could even feel it, not just from the player standpoint, but just in the gym, that the energy was mounting. And I remember, there's no chance we're not coming back from this game.
To limit Eureka scoring, Webster changed up their defense.
We put Addie on the ball, and Addie's really good on the ball. And I don't know why we didn't, if it was foul trouble early on or whatnot, but that really changed that 5 minutes.
I'm long and tall, and I think that when we did that, they weren't expecting that, and yeah, that did give them trouble, especially later in the second half.
Neither team was able to score for the next 50 seconds, but after a charging foul and an errant pass, Webster was giving the ball to Eureka with just 25 seconds left, still down. On Eureka's inbound pass, J.C. Morgan tipped it away, kept it in bounds, and got it to Addie Besink to give Webster their first lead of the game.
My first instinct, I saw JC, I was like, crap, she was out of bounds. I never heard a whistle. I saw the ball, Lauren throw the ball to me, and I was like, that wasn't out of bounds.
She kind of assumed it was going to be out of bounds anyway, so she just went after it, tosses it back, I catch it, and I immediately see Addie, and she's our main scorer around the basket, so I toss it to her, and it went in, and we had to, we got excited, but we knew we were still needing to play a game because they could have easily just scored again.
On what would be Eureka's last shot attempt of the game, Besink got a block and was then fouled. The technical foul allowed Webster to shoot free throws, securing the win and home court advantage for the conference tournament.
I just want to say that, I'm really proud of my teammates. It wasn't an easy win, but I definitely think that we should continue looking back on it just to put ourselves back into the perspective of we can literally do anything we want. If we just keep our heads and stay towards that common goal, then we'll be straight.
Webster would go on to win the conference tournament, defeating Greenville and Spalding at home and qualifying for the national tournament.
It was one of the best moments probably in Webster history, not just the decade. And man, I still feel the excitement that we had in that gym, from the fans to our players, and it was a great day to be a Gorlock.
This has been Robbie Floyd of the Webster Journal. Thanks for watching.